Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and here I am keeping a promise and playing more of Steve Jackson's Sorcery. And at this point we should probably imagine Iron Maiden singing Back in the Village and Back in the Village and Back in the Village again, in their song that is vaguely reminiscent of The Prisoner. Vaguely, as in only tangentially related. But it did have the nice original bit of voiceover from the intro at the beginning, I think, so that's memorable. Right, before we go any further, I would like to cast the Far spell and spy on the Archmage and see what we can learn of him. Perhaps there's been some painting progress. So here we have a, hopefully not too out of focus, late night look at the Archmage. As you can see, I've done a number of the embellishments and decorations upon his robe. I've also done his bracelet and the rings on his left thumb and right forefinger. Additionally, his skin is always depicted as a unnatural, unhealthy looking grey shade, which I've attempted to replicate. I'm not entirely happy with the way the skin came out. I've also highlighted and shaded the hair and beard, and I've blocked in the orange portions of the robe and belt, including underneath. Once I've done the orange portions, I'll be able to fill in the green sections, which look black but are really a very dark green. I'm glad to finally get some decent progress on the Archmage, and we'll hope to see more of him in the future. Also, glad to be painting again. So I might want to touch up the highlights on the Archmage's skin. I'm not entirely happy with his skin, as I mentioned. The 3 or 4 pots of paint I used for his skin are all old and drying out, although that could be from the heat, but no. The majority of them are paint pots from 2012 or 2013, which should probably get replaced at some point soon. I'm not sure if his skin needs another layer of highlight. It looks okay now, but once the hems of the sleeves and of the and at the bottom of his robe and around the collar are dark green, and the trim on those is orange, and the underrobe is orange, and the overrobe is purple for his official color scheme, putting this grey skin next to the dark purple might make the skin look darker rather than contrasting, so it may need a few more highlights. Once I've finished the bottom of the underrobe, I will happily glue him in his base and, paint the edge of the base black. But I'd say at the moment now, we're in pretty good odds for seeing him finished by the end of the series, as truly befits the arch-villain who is paranoid and believes we are the villain in his tale. Let's continue now. You pat yourself down. You are quite alive. What is more, you have all your possessions and gold and knowledge intact. The road runs past you, east to west. The night air is cool and good for walking. Now, I think when I entered into this area, I simply came in here too early, and this is an area I should have left until much later. These series of towers still don't feel like part of the original adventure. The contents of the towers feels like part of the original adventure, but the towers themselves, having the rooms all separated off in separate towers like this, feels very odd. Likewise, if we go in this direction, these towers over here are probably equally challenging. This one's got a hole in the roof, so we can look down, but that's probably not indicative of very much. This one may have, like, lichen or moss growing on it or something. Oh, lots of vines. Either way, I do need to be careful. So I think I should concentrate on the outer bailey here. I mean, technically this is the outer bailey, then the inner bailey, then the keep, but this is more of an outer bailey and this is more of an inner bailey, but there's not a lot in it, really. Okay. So, what do we know? First off, we know that this is incredibly deadly. That's to be expected. I came into here not knowing fully what to do in the stupid childhood tower. I went into the Tower of the Ram and got rammed quite profusely. There is blatantly a ram's head on the roof. Look, there's its face, there's one horn, there's the other horn. Was that there all along, or has that been added now that I've been there? That's a very good question. Because this one has the swirly snow or something on the roof, right? Maybe the roofs are indicative of what's in the tower below. And I have been informed that the stone ram was not the goat demon that I was warned of. Okay. I think I want to go into this area. So, in here, in the goblin room, I did not have a key. I needed a key. And I did not have one. Which gives me the impression, and there was like literally nothing in that tower, I think, at all. So, this place is old and abandoned, and hasn't been occupied in a very long time. I imagine the same applies to this area over here as well. These areas are very inhabited. These look like very large buildings that may have lots of guards inside them, and I should be careful of approaching those. These, however, look like more regular barrack-shaped buildings. Well, maybe not. This, some kind of mansion or official administration centre, maybe. These large buildings, definitely more barrack-like. Maybe it's like an armory. I don't know. I do need to be cautious, folks. So anyway, here I needed a key. I had a key, but it was not the correct key. This implies that either it didn't matter what key I had, and I was just doomed anyway, or that I did not have the correct key, and the game wasn't even going to give me the choice of which key to use because they were all wrong. If the key for this area exists, this place is abandoned, the key is obviously not here. If the key exists, and it exists somewhere in the game where I can obtain it, it would make sense if someone who left this area had brought it out into the buildings around here. It may be over here or in any of the other towers, but it would make more sense if it's out in this area. In this area, I do need to be careful. I am disguised as a monk, which hasn't done very much for me so far. But I think I'd like to explore this warren of slum-like buildings. You continue along the road. It must be morning by now. You have been awake all night and are weaker for it. You pass a side street leading off into a maze of smaller streets and alleys. Let us explore, but let us remember to be cautious. Also remember, we've relied on magic fairly heavily in this run, and it was theoretically possible to play the warrior option and not use a single spell in the adventure, up to one point in Book 4 where you had a special scroll or wand or item or something to let you cast the Z spell the one time you needed to cast it. So, in theory, there's literally only one time in the entire game we need to cast a spell. In practice, that seems to very much not be the case. You skulk down a narrow street lined with low warehouses. You catch the scent of grain as you pass one. You are into the middle part of the day, and yet the citadel is still cold. As you turn a slight corner, you spy 3 guards walking towards you, one dressed in the finery of a captain. Distracted by conversation, they have yet to spot you. Okay. Hide in a warehouse. They could walk right past and not see me. They could observe that I am They're like, hey, why is this warehouse door open? Let's lock that, or let's go in and search. Maybe they probably don't care too much if someone's robbing the place, but they might be like, hey, who's in there? You know, might be interested in doing their duty. Turn around and walk away. That will draw attention to me. Keep walking. Head down, walk right past them. The disguise may work for or against me here. If the guards who ran away screaming because they saw me flying have reported this to other guards, like, you know, by reported I don't mean necessarily made an official report, I mean like, you know, chatted while they were having their soup last night or something, say, this bloody bloke, we threw him off the wall and he flew at us, he's a demon from another world, it's the Analander. Then they might have mentioned that I was dressed as a monk. So, ditching the monk's robes and wearing my normal clothes and walking right past them could be very sensible. However, the monk's disguise may actually work in my favour here, if they are not looking for a monk. And they might just think, oh yeah, it's another person around here, he's meditating, you know, walking through this portion of the town, contemplating the meaning of life or something. Hide in a warehouse. If this was universally the best option available, keep walking almost feels like it shouldn't be there. So I think I should put on a brave face and stick with it. This may be a very big mistake. You know what else? I'll pray for healing. Just in case this gets aggressive. You continue to walking towards them, your pace steady and breath even. Nearing the three, you can make out snatches of talk. But how do you manage it? One says. If I said the word, could I do it? No, the captain replies. You need to know how to say it, using your will to channel the light, not just a matter of spouting off a word or two. As they pass by, one peers at your face. Their conversation drops to an ugly murmur as they pass by. The guards nod to you as they pass by, but pay you no more notice. You continue along the short alley. Look, they might turn around and go, hey, wait a minute, but I've got a head start on them now. The word. That could be a clue. So, warehouse, broken buildings, the alley. You continue along the short alley. Now I can go into a warehouse without them looking suspiciously at me. Look, I could be visiting one of the faithful, talking about religious matters. Also, this looks like a dead end, so I could go here first, then back out along here and explore all the options. That is incredibly dangerous. But for some reason, I'm going to do it. You'll pick your way through broken buildings and through the wreckage of fallen homes. It seems the city once housed a lot more people than it does now. Perhaps its life is simply ebbing away. Across the ruins you can make up the stalls and tents of a bustling market. I don't really have any money to spend, so I'll go back this way. You enter the side street where you encountered the trio of guards. They do not seem to be currently present. Let's go have a look in this warehouse then. You slip into a warehouse. Inside, plenty of empty space, some of it lined with straw. The interior is quiet and dark. You search around in the straw to see if anything has been left behind from the last time this place was stocked, and in one corner you find a rope ladder. What a stroke of luck! You head for the door once more, and hope to not be apprehended. You enter the side street where you encountered the trio of guards, but you do not feel a finger on your collar, or a voice saying, hello, 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 now where did you just get that rope ladder from, then, eh? Let's head along the alley. At the moment, I'm looking for keys, I'm looking for clues, I'm looking for opportunities to find things to help me through the harder portions of the citadel of Mampang. You make your way along the quiet, debris-strewn alleyway. There is nothing here but silence and the faintest smell of death. The sun disappears, heading towards the horizon. I'll look at the buildings. There may be somewhere I can rest. The buildings here are completely inhabited, used only by Mampang's lowest strata of society. These are people without hope. Suddenly a door bursts open next to you. A woman sprints out of it, then slams it closed. Leaning against it, she takes a series of heavy breaths. I'll look at her. Maybe something bursts the door open behind her and sends her flying across the street. She's either robbed the place or something's chasing her. Either way, it's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm not going to not look, you know. She is dressed in a loose cloth shirt with a bandana tied across her forehead. A notched cutlass hangs from her belt, so she's a pirate. Got it. She looks at you after catching her breath. "Can I help you?" she asks. "What are you running from?" Wait. "My child, what are you running from?" A crooked grin appears on her face. "Rani Golandi, at your service," she says. "I just emerged from a small disagreement with some goblins. Nothing to worry about, really." Uh-huh. What kind of disagreement? Do you live in Mampang? Well, they don't let people who don't live in Mampang in, so she probably lives here. Yeah, what kind of disagreement? The goblins and I were just discussing certain irregularities in their finances. You mean you robbed them? Goblins don't keep finances. Goblins don't keep finances. I'm a monk, remember? "These ones don't keep 'em, no," she replies with a grin. "Not a coin. I ran circles round the silly creatures and robbed 'em blind." "Why?" you ask. "You mean other than for the money?" Her eyes narrow. "Do you really actually want to know?" "Yes, I'm intrigued." "I'm a pirate," she begins, or was. "Was shipwrecked off the southern coast after tangling with a Pontoppidan. My stupid captain decided to hug the coast until he found port, but there would be no bounty in that, so I struck off for Mampang." It must have been a very dangerous journey. Remember, the Archmage can take many forms, and we may have met him already on our journey. "Oh, it was," she says. "Hiding in caves to avoid the birdmen, getting stalked by rat bears. It is one death trap after another all the way to the coast, and then up the river." She looks at you sideways. "But perhaps you'd be more interested in my newest venture." "And what is that, exactly? Are you going to rob me as well?" She leans forwards. "I'll tell you what I'm after. I'm going to sneak into the Archmage's vaults and steal his greatest treasure. Enough to let me buy a ship of my own, or a whole island. You could found a convent or something." Ah, at least she's acknowledged my disguise. And why are you telling me, child?" you demand. "Because most likely I'm going to kill you, and so the treasure in the vaults will still be mine." What, you're going to take me with you so that I can die disarming traps for you, or you're just going to kill me now to rob me and then, What treasure would that be?" you ask. Despite her hostility, Rani grins. "You simpleton! I'm going to steal the crown of kings, of course!" "You will fail." Sorry, very, very, very Hellblade, Senua's sacrifice there. "You will fail." Never heard of it. She won't believe that. I'm a monk. I've read books. I've learned things. I can't allow that. Surely that is madness. That would be what you could expect a monk to say. "You will fail" a little too straight to the point. I cannot allow that. I mean, if she attacks me, I can get the goblin money off her, right? "I'm afraid I can't allow that," says Robocop. No, that's more, "we can't be having that," isn't it? "I can't allow that," you tell her firmly. "You don't get a vote. This isn't a pirate ship. I'm going to steal the crown," Rani crows. "I'm going to steal the crown! And that is that. If you had enough to bid for it, then you can make an offer after I've filched it." I'm pretty sure the Archmage has it in his possession rather than in some vaults, but, where are these vaults? You ask, wondering if she has any useful information. Ah, well, that's something I know, but you don't, but they're in the city, sure enough. Well, the vaults must be protected. Now, does that mean I must protect the vaults from you, you thief? Or does it mean surely there must be some protections in place to prevent you from... Let's find out. Rani giggles, nods, but says nothing more. You must not take it. What is that? I am 1,000 leagues from home, separated from my crew, and stand to gain the wealth of kings. The crown is dangerous. So, that does not frighten me. Besides, I will quickly ransom it and let whoever pays worry about the danger. You really think they'd pay you the ransom money? They'd turn up, jiggle a bit of money, kill you, and walk away with it. You are a fool. I would only be a fool if I let the crown fall into the hands of a self-righteous villager like you, she spits at your face. But enough talk. If you want to stop me from getting the crown, you better show me your steel or cast a spell. Uh-oh. You open your arms to cast a spell instead, and the thief cries out in alarm. But as Rani is advancing on you, the nearby door bursts open and a group of goblins spill out, tripping over each other. There she is! One of them points at Rani. And she has a friend! The goblins charge forwards. You will quickly be surrounding. Push Rani into them. It seems very fitting. It seems like just what she deserves. But they might think I'm her friend letting her down and just throwing her to them. So let's see what spells I have available to me. If I'd gone straight for the fight, I could summon a goblin. What, one goblin? What's that going to do? Unless the goblin I summon talks to them and says, look, mate, I can make them all dance. Count as dumb. Was Jig available in that tower in the last episode? Wait, no, is dumb the one that makes them depressed and dim the one that makes them stupid? Okay, let's look at this. Mud, quicksand, potentially useful, but protection from magic. Unless they're going to use magic, I don't see that being an issue. I got wall and walk. Okay. I think I've got a pretty good idea what they're all thinking. They're charging to fight me. That's not the best. Hot, obviously. Chuck a fireball. Or Gak. I think I see Gak. Oh, God. Illusion of worship. Make them all worship me, or make them think I'm worshipping. That's a little obscure. Gak would obviously make them all scared. And then I could sort of like tremble in fear, little mortals, as I walk away. I want to check the god spell. I don't think the pirate is particularly religious. When this spell is cast, any creatures or humans nearby will take an immediate liking to the caster and will offer aid and information. Sure. As opposed to Gak, mud, dumb, dim, muddle its mind, counters kid. Okay. So maybe kid was the counter spell in that tower. So then dumb is the clumsiness one? Yes. Okay. You know what? I am literally wearing the monk's robes, so I might as well cast the god spell. Plus, I'm not sure I've really been able to cast it much before. Looking at the stars, you craft the magic. Your jewel of gold begins to shine and gleam. A moment later, Rani is staring at you in amazement, as are the two goblins she was battling with. Thomas, she breathes. It's you! Great! Cries the nearest goblin. He prostrates himself on the ground. Goblins, fall back. The goblins bow and scrape as they hurry back, but the goblins behind are not enchanted and push forward to fill the gap. Well, I've reduced the amount. Let's go about a 4. I'll make it a 5. The goblin charges for you. You set your stance and swing with a skillful slicing attack, hoping to injure the monster before it is ready. It gibbers and goes for your neck with its short sword. You score a wounding injury. The creature howls with frustration as you jam your sword into its stomach. So it's only got about 3 left. If I go for like another 4... 4.5, let's say. Oh! Unlucky. Then the goblin crowds your space, launching a massive cut with its sword. You attempt to shatter its chest, but fumble. The goblin dances on the spot, looking primed to retreat. Yeah, looks like it's going to defend. I'm going to go a slight attack. Oh, really? You dodge to one side, but can't escape the goblin's blow. Cackling, it injures you, overcoming your blade with its stinging slice. The goblin watches you fearfully. Let's go for like a 5.6. I don't think it quite go that high. Oh, and now it defends. Next, you are taking the advantage. You jump forward and drive the edge of your sword towards its side. Fortuitously, the goblin's weapon takes some of the blow. The monster's broken knife is hardly a defense against your own. That's not a knife. This is a knife. I mean, no, it's a sword, but you get the picture. It's building up to an attack. Let's go for like a 3.3. Oh! Chasing it, holding your weight steady, you slash sideways. The goblin's own weak blow is no danger. The goblin is weakening. The creature follows you. I think I just have to go all out for the kill. Oh! 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 You maintain the pressure on the goblin. You dart forward and drive the edge of your sword towards its side. It shifts and runs to cross the passage. The goblin is almost defeated. The goblin waves its dagger in the air. I think he's building up to an attack. I can go... Sod it, yeah. Okay. You try to cover yourself, but you fall. The goblin seizes its chance, wobbling closer with an evil blow. You are driven backwards. The creature flexes its short dagger, but looks a little tired. Let's defend. Glad I defended. Cautiously, you duck back, watching the goblin carefully. It springs forward with a half-hearted attack with its weapon, but you knock it aside. You keep your gaze on it. The goblin dances backward, looking ready to dodge. Yeah, but I don't care. One hit will kill you. Next, you are leading the fight. Moving on to backwards, you cut across the goblin's chest. You have defeated the goblin. Shameful. Well, look, I'm taking it. The goblins are now in disarray. Rani's run, hasn't she? Yeah. The survivors have retreated, but in the confusion, Rani has disappeared. The wily pirate has slipped away and is determined to steal the crown of kings for herself. You turn to return down the street. Yeah, that's going to be a problem going forwards. I suspect she's a returning character like Flanker, but we haven't seen Flanker very much recently. We did witness him at the beginning. Mampang hides a vault. There is a secret vault somewhere under Mampang. Probably very dangerous. Right, why? Why do I have to go back to this street? Why can't I go this way? You went to the side street where you encountered the trio of guards. Well, in that case, I'm just going to have to go this way through, aren't I? You head within sight of the market once more. The sun is sinking, and you don't have the money to, suppose I could go sleep in the fields again, maybe? That is dodgy, though. You emerge from the ruins of a house into the edge of the market. Maybe I could sleep in the warehouse. The market is busy with traders and stalls. A city in miniature. The market is not as large as those you encountered in Khare, but still it bustles with life. Even in Mampang, people need to go about their day. There are a few large tents set up and some stone buildings too. There is a hawker loudly proclaiming that mysteries and wonders await in his tent. In one corner, a long line of creatures queue outside a low stone building. So we got the square, the stalls, the fortune teller, which I can't afford, the hawker. Maybe he'll buy stuff? I doubt it. But let's see. You walk by the hawker, who is plying her trade to the crowd. "Examine the wondrous stone of secrets," she marvels. "Marvel as it speaks, advises and prophesies." You approach the hawker, who points right at you. "Now here is a discerning patron of the weird and wonderful. Will he enter and experience the mysteries that even our most magical knowledge cannot explain?" What is it? She puffs herself up. "The Stone of Secrets is an incredibly rare artifact, discovered deep within a lost cave many moons ago. It is the only stone in the world which can speak. It is not powered by magic, but a strange alien force unique in the old world. The greatest magicians of our age have examined it and walked away confounded." "Where are you from?" You ask. "I'm a proud daughter of the 8th slum," she replies. "But they say my family were once great travellers and traders across the whole of the old world. Can you imagine such a journey?" "Well, indeed I can." She nods. "Of course, I can tell from the moment I saw you. You're the type to accept adventures such as this one." She taps the stone beside her meaningfully. "And how much would it cost to go and witness this speaking stone?" "You may enter for the astonishingly small sum of 2 gold pieces." "What a bargain! What a steal! Only 2, yes, 2 gold pieces for an entertaining, enlightening, life-changing experience." "Yeah, I don't have 2 gold pieces." No, thank you." "Friend, you are making a dreary mistake. What are 2 gold pieces compared to the mysteries of the ages?" "I don't have 2. You shake your head at the hawker, who immediately turns her attention elsewhere. You go back into the market. "Fortune teller, I don't have the money. The market stalls, let's go take a look. Otherwise I'm just going to have to go into the square." Most of the stalls are mundane, roughly made household goods and some trinkets. Despite the number of shoppers, there are in fact very few goods. But as you wander the stands, you do spot a weapons dealer flaunting his wares and a bent-backed peddler with unusual items spread on a cloth. I would imagine the peddler is selling spell components. He's more likely to buy things from a weapons dealer. The peddler smiles as you approach, and he gestures across a motley collection of objects laid out on a blanket. There is chipped pottery, dull knives, and empty picture frames. The man is not old, but a hard life has aged his looks. "Junk, refuse, and memorabilia," he shouts, "all for the discerning customer." What gems do I have, first of all? Because is this my magic gems, right? Is this like my sun gem, my gem of gold? Or would it be the 2 jewels of gold? I mean, I don't know if he's going to just like take everything. A gold piece in front of a ring. Okay, looking at this, my gems are all magical gems. And I need all of those, although I could theoretically part with a single jewel of gold. But I don't know if he's going to go for like an all-in-one deal here. Where are you from? "The shores of Lake Ilklala originally, but that was long ago. I took to wandering at a young age and finished up here," he shrugs. "Not what I hoped for, really." Why are you selling junk? Is it because it's all you got or all you can afford? He cackles, which ends in a tremendous coughing fit. "Oh, you know, another person's treasure, right? Some of these could be used for magic." You tell him.
I'm no sorcerer, just a man with a good eye for value. I have learned that there are those out there who know a worthy purchase when they see it.
How did you come across these things? He points to a dried flower.
That I found in the back pocket of a sleeping werewolf. This glue I won from a man in a contest of riddles, and this mirror I found dangling from a tree in an ancient swamp.
Glue and mirror. I may have some of those already. I think I had a pot of glue, but I don't have it anymore. Apparently not. Okay. Let's blatantly look and see if there's anything here particularly useful. Requires the serpent ring, which I literally have, but it's in red, probably to make it stand out from the background a bit. So glue would give me gum, which counters zip. So a worthy purchase. Maybe I could sell weapons to a weapons dealer. And the mirror... I could have sworn there was a gold-backed mirror. Point of creature. So this is the one that makes a copy, isn't it? Yeah. An exact replica of the enemy will then be created under the caster's control. However, should either creature die, both will disappear. So that's saying if the creature kills the copy, the creature still disappears anyway and is screwed? That's weird. That feels very bad. So those are both things I would like to purchase. I will... You are quite the adventurer.
You observe. In my youth I was many things. An excellent dancer, for instance. I fathered 47 children by that particular skill.
He scratches his nose.
So, gonna buy
anything, he asks. Scrutinizing an assortment of junk, you can see a few items that would be useful to you. Let's offer to sell my gems. Do you buy as well? I have gems for sale.
Gems? He shakes his head laughing. No point me buying gems. What would happen if I put them out on my rug here, do you think? Would I make my money back? I don't think so.
Who do you reckon would take them? Who should I be on the lookout for?
Try Hummingbird, the weapons dealer. He's nuts.
He waves at his wares again, his previous grin returning. Well, let's try that then. You decide to take your leave. The peddler wishes you safe travels with a wink. All right. I mean, maybe I could sell him some of my weapons? You approach the weapons store. The trader is extraordinarily thin. He might disappear if he turns sideways.
Welcome, friend, he says. The army has procured most of my goods, but I have a few items left to sell from my original stock.
You're not from Mampang?
There are safer trade routes, yes, I know, the peddler declares, but as a bold young man I had heard that the Archmage was offering a fortune for weapons.
The trader waves his hand vaguely.
Outfitting a new army or something, I'm not so sure. Of course, once I got here, well,
what happened? They confiscated your gear and didn't pay you for it? He glances at a passing guard and lowers his voice.
That snake Nylock would only pay me half and left me stuck on the wrong side of the wall. But what could I do? If I tried to leave, some birdman would have no doubt swooped down, and that would have been the end of it. At least I'm in a state to appreciate my poverty. But what can I do for you?
If you're poor, you can't afford my gems. So about this Nylock.
He makes a rude noise. The Archmage's official merchant. She handles all the trade for Mampang. Not us, he gestures to the crowds, but the fortress, the guard encampment around the tower. I suppose she's now chiefly interested in outfitting the army.
So you mentioned this army before?
Oh, indeed, though I couldn't tell you who they're supposed to be fighting. Everyone inside the walls is now dead, or so they say. Now are you going to buy something, or are we to simply chatter about a Clatterman's grandmother?
Well, do you buy gemstones? you asked. I was told you might. I might. May I see? Perhaps a trade in kind. Let him see the stones, but don't let him touch. You open up your pack a little for him to see the gemstones piled up in your bag. His eyes open wide. Very nice, he says. Not much market for trinkets in Mampang, of course. And how much would you offer? How much are they worth to you? How about this? He lifts a cutlass from a mat. It really is my finest blade. Strong, supple, perfection. Where did you get it? So it's all the gems for one thing. It was washed up in the fountain by the merchant's ward, he replies. To my very great surprise, the fountains are fed by rivers. I suppose something must have sunk somewhere once upon a time, or else someone dropped it here by accident. If I take the sword and I meet her again, I can offer her the sword if it belonged to someone she valued on the ship. But it's all my gems. No, that's not the best deal I could make. You shake your head. It's not what I want. Well, that's the best blade I have, he says sadly. I don't have enough gold on me to buy them outright, he shrugs. Sorry, friend, no deal. Well, let's have a look and see what you got anyway. I can see you're a seasoned one, so I won't waste your time with the lumps the common soldier gets stuck with. I have this broadsword, which I can let go for, say, 15 gold pieces. I also have this longsword, which can be yours for 25, and the best sword in my possession is this cutlass for 600 gold pieces. Of course, at these prices you are practically robbing me, but then, so is everyone else in this place. I don't have enough to buy any of those. I'm not going to disparage his prices. You've seen enough. You nod to the trader. Farewell. His face drops. Farewell, then. Do come back if you ever intend to buy something. I'd better head out into the square where that large statue stands, in a very archmage-like pose. You head away from a maze of stalls and shops. You could head in several directions from here. Before I do, the barracks near the... Right. What did he mention about the barracks near the statue? Heading west will take me back this way, but I do need to find somewhere to rest soon. Over here, I am unlikely to find safe quarters to slumber. I could maybe try and rest back out here, but the more I rest here, the more likely I'm to be reported by the figure who saw me there if they haven't already. Resting out here is dodgy. I can't rest on the walkways. If I could find a tower to rest in, that would be great. So far, this looks like my best resting place, unless there's some kind of tavern or inn in this direction, in this place. At which point, I would be blatantly drawing attention to myself. But okay, let's look at this. This looks like a place for public executions and torture. Not an... There's stocks, some kind of benches, people at the back, or manacles. Actually, yeah, no, it could just be a rack. It could be a torture rack. If these are levers, right, and cranks, and then you put like 2 feet in there or 2 hands, and then attach something down here as well, like the other 2 limbs. Yeah, I probably shouldn't be going near that. This looks like a well. And it looks like going west will give me an option to look at it. The east side might be... Look, going down here, I'm too close to here, too close to all the guards, in definite danger. I want to go here. I mean, this looks promising, but this could be a very negative experience going into this building. So I will go this way. The buildings on the eastern edge are a little more ramshackle. An arch leads to another, smaller yard. An alley runs past it. A pillory sits to the north of here. Okay, so yes, stocks. Darkness closes in. You should find a suitable spot for sleep, especially on an empty stomach. Am I getting by on prayer again? Apparently, prayer will sustain me. In this monk's attire. How very appropriate. You close your eyes and raise a prayer to Korga, and I feel health returning. I'll look at the arch. You peer over at the archway. It is open despite the hour. I'll look at the alley. Glancing down the alley, you see a distant touch of smoke. Some kind of fire? You could cross the square or explore the fringes. I kind of really do want to go looking that archway. Right, why is it that this is open when it's so late? That should make it suspicious. I could go in and get locked in, come out again in the morning. Not good. Draw attention to myself. Go down the alley, probably much safer. Or, this is a chaotic outpost. They're not likely to close things down for the night. You know, they're more carefree and less lawfully minded. So this could be an interesting place to explore. But I think I'm going to end this episode here and make my mind up before the next one. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and I do look forward to seeing you all next in the very next one. I'm going to say goodbye for now, though, and cheerio, everyone. See you all soon.